Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Brad Gothier, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of your website when it comes to building your business. Personally, I've been building websites for companies for over 20 years now, and I've seen all of the trends come and go, but the one thing that has stayed relatively consistent is the general need for a high-performing website. In my days of building websites for companies, I've worked with nearly every industry, every size of business. It's all over the map of who I've worked with, but the general concepts that I'm going to go over in this video have applied for pretty much every type of business and company, whether they are a brick and mortar, whether they are e-commerce, whether they are a hybrid, whatever it is, these strategies apply for everyone. The first and probably most obvious thing that you want to have when you have a website is to have high quality visitors. The thing is that not all visitors are created equal. Some may be an ideal customer, some may just be browsing and may never actually become a customer. And so it's really important to attract the highest quality visitors as possible. There's plenty of ways to attract high quality visitors to your website, and I'm not going to go through them all in this video because will be a later video. But in general, it's vitally important to create an ideal persona that you are targeting with your marketing efforts when it comes to attracting visitors. And so it ultimately, you want to have all of your marketing messages, all of your search engine efforts, all of your social efforts, everything should be targeting that ideal customer. It's far too common to see where you look at the analytics or you look at your stats and you see a ton of hits and you might think that you're doing very well, but your sales and your revenue doesn't reflect that. That's most likely because the actual visitors to the website aren't high quality. What you want to do is everything that you do in terms of attracting visitors to the website is you want to go after your ideal customer. That ideal visitor is going to be much more likely to become a customer. And so when you're looking at the stats, don't just get excited about seeing a bunch of hits, because that's really not going to equate to revenue. And that leads me to my second point of when you have visitors to the website, you want to make sure that they do what you want them to do. And in general, that's called conversion rate optimization. But essentially what you're doing is as you construct a website, you want to define the conversion goals. And those conversion goals could be getting them to call you. That could be adding a product to the cart and checking out. That could be sharing the website. That could be subscribing. Depending on your product and services and industry, those conversion goals could be all sorts of different things, but whatever those conversion goals are, your entire site needs to be constructed in a way where it funnels them into those conversion goals. And what those conversion goals are usually a button or some sort of call to action. And that call to action is going to get the website visitor to do what you want them to do. And an example of this would be a button that says buy now, or if you're a resort, it may say book now, or if you're a service, it might say contact us. There's all sorts of calls to action, but the main thing is that you want to make sure that when visitors get to your website, they actually do what you want them to do. And that just in general, again, is conversion rate optimization, and it's a vital piece in having a successful web presence. The next is, if someone isn't ready to become a customer, how do you retain them to further market to them? And there's a couple different ways to do that. One, which in my opinion isn't as solid of a way, is to get them following you on some social network, whether that's Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever. That's a decent way to keep them in your network, but the most important, the best way to keep them in your network is to get their email. And by building an email list, they're essentially giving you permission to market to them over time. And if you have a more professional audience, they check their email most likely on a daily basis. And conversely, on say Facebook, if they go on Facebook, they may or may not see your information based on all sorts of metrics inside of the algorithm that determines what people see. So when you have someone's email, you know that you're going to show up in their inbox, as long as you're not on their spam list or something like that. But if you send high quality emails, you're going to end up in their inbox, and they may not click on the email or whatever, but at the very least, they're going to see your brand name. They might see your subject, and it just gives another touch point for them to remember who you are. And so when it comes to building the email list, it's incredibly important to have multiple different opt-in forms. And the key with the opt-in forms, while it may be, it's very enticing to ask for a ton of information, their first name, last name, their location, mailing address, whatever it may be. But just remember, the more that you ask, the less likely they're going to give that information. So what I usually recommend our customers do is that they only ask for the email. And if you want to personalize the email, maybe ask for the first name, maybe depending on your audience, maybe the last name. But just remember, the more that you ask, the less likely they're going to give you their information. So at the very least, ask for the email. And the one tip that I can give you about how to get folks to opt into your email list is going to be that you have to provide something of value. It's not enough these days to just say, hey, subscribe to my newsletter. What's in it for them? People get enough email, they get enough just bombarded by all these businesses and marketers that they're not very excited to just hand out their email. And so what you want to do is you want to provide something of value, whether that might be a free course, it could be an ebook, it could be a case study, whatever is most applicable to your industry and your business in general. That's going to be a very easy way to add value to their life, and it increases the chance of them opting in to your email list. One other area that you need to think deeply about is how can you get those people to share your website? So the obvious one is going to be having interesting articles on the website or some sort of thing that gets them to take that URL and share it on Facebook or LinkedIn. That's usually the easiest way to get people to share your website. But other ways that you can get more creative are like tools or podcasts or videos or just different things that people can share that they might find interesting for their audience to know about. And so the more that you provide that is shareable, the more likely you'll get a viral effect in terms of traffic generation. So just keep brainstorming different ways that you can get people to share your website. And finally, the last one I want you to think about is how are you making money with the website? Are you selling a product? Are you selling a service? What is it that is going to generate revenue? And depending on the website, that could be anything from having banner ads on the website all the way to selling courses or a physical product or a service or consultancy. What are you actually selling? And once you have that figured out, which I'm assuming if you're in business, you know what you're selling, you want to really hit people over the head with what you have to sell. Because people are so distracted these days that the more that people have to search on the website for what you offer, the less likely they are to buy something. So for instance, this past year, we helped a resort rebuild their entire web presence. And one of the things that we noticed was their main revenue source, obviously, was getting bookings. But when you went to their old website, the ability to book a room was mixed in with all of their other stuff. And there wasn't really obvious that you can book a room. And what ended up happening is most people would not book a room. They would just browse it a little bit and maybe call or whatever, but they didn't really have a lot of good conversions from the website. And so what we did is that we completely built the entire website around that Book Now button. And the more that Book Now button that was built around and everything flowed into that Book Now button, It's been really fascinating to see their growth in terms of online bookings, and it was such a subtle thing, and it's obvious in hindsight, but by hitting people over the head with exactly what you have to sell is incredibly important in terms of growing your revenue from your online presence. As time goes on, a lot of these things are going to become pretty obvious to you, but I just wanted to create a short little video that highlighted some of the things to think about. I'm for sure going to create a lot more videos on these topics and really dive deep into them. But until that is done, definitely send me a message or leave a comment with suggestions or questions that you may have, because I'd love to do more and more videos like this that can help you build your business and start making revenue with your online presence. So with that said, thanks for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, have a wonderful day. Thank you.